Hi, this is part 2 of the Alfa Spider restoration where I'm going to be finishing off the sill, A-post repairs and front wing. I have tapped the inner sill in place, but before I can fully weld it, I need to check the outer sill alignment first. Before I can do that, the new door has to be fitted. I need to make sure the swages align correctly and the door gaps are as uniform as possible. The first thing I notice is that lead has been added, for which I'm not sure why at this point. I'm going to remove it as it's sometimes used to cover rust holes and it's making the door gap tight in that area. We can see a small hole in the corner, but the gap is better now. I'm quite pleased with how things line up and I'm measuring the gaps with a vernier caliper for reference. It's also important at this stage to have the door in line with the outside of the car. Now I can test fit the outer sill, which all looks good to me, so I can fully weld the inner sill at this point. Something I'm disappointed to find is the rear wings have been replaced in the past and welded on top of the previous wing edge. This is a major setback as I didn't intend removing the rear wing, but I can't leave it like that. It does annoy me when people do stuff like this because it causes me extra work I didn't know about. And surprise surprise, they have done the same on the other wing. Angry emoji. You may wonder why doing this is bad. First of all, to cover up the mess they have used filler. You don't want filler over lap panel joints, as slight flex in the body will cause the filler to crack. Cracks look bad and can let water into the joint. This is one reason sealant must be used on lap panel joints, which allows the flex and prevents water getting in. Another reason is lap welding over an already lap joint will cause welding problems. Corrosion between the previous joint will interfere and cause porous welds. Okay, moving on. Here's a little tip for drilling upwards. Use a scissor jack to push the drill up. It's much easier for drilling the holes for self-tapping screws. I have to use screws instead of clamps to hold the panel in place for welding on this occasion. The outer sill is aligned and welded in place, making sure the front recess is also aligned with the door edge. This is where the wing will sit. Here's another use for a scissor jack when clamps aren't possible. The next thing to tackle is the lower A-post. This is a funny shape because the sill top is at an angle. This means the folded flange needs to curve in order to fit. A simple pattern is the best way to cut this shape. I've welded a repair into the inner A-post and closed off the sill end, ready to fit the wing repair section. Again, starting with the door swage lines, we can see a mismatch in the door gap. I can't move the swages very easily, but I can move the 90-degree panel fold to realign things. You often get this type of mismatch and it's no big deal to rectify. I'm going to cut just in front of the radius edge and bring the two back together. If you cut right on the corner you will lose the radius, which is much better to keep. Fully welded and ground both sides, there's little evidence of the change. It's now time to start welding the wing section, keeping alignment in all directions. Where the old wing is raised here, it's not correct to push the old wing down to meet the new panel. The right thing to do is push out the new wing section from inside. And guess what's good for that? Yes, the scissor jack. If I push the old wing down, the welding would shrink it further, causing a low spot along the join. The jack also helps keep the welded joints separated, preventing the material butting up against each other. I always like a small gap when butt welding. I'm using a piece of wood to hold the panel in alignment during welding. The joint isn't flat, so a small tap with a hammer is needed to rectify this before final welding. Now the joint is fully welded and ground back, I need to check for any pinholes using a torch. As you can see, there are a couple, and if left will cause a rust bubble should water get in from the back side. With those fixed, it's time for a final check over. It put up a bit of a fight, but it's gone in well. I just want to show you something on this Renault 5 I'm doing. I've blasted the underside and I've left the car a week, and where old rust has been removed, rust has started again. I like leaving blasted steel for a few days for this to appear. It is where rust has not been satisfactorily removed and needs to be more thorough. Once you have removed rust thoroughly enough, it won't start again like this. To the naked eye it looked perfect on the day of blasting, and I could have quite easily painted over it. Sometimes it might take 3 attempts to effectively blast clean rusted steel. If anybody is interested in homemade helicopters, you can see this machine fly on my other channel here. In the next video, I'll be tackling the rear wing and rear arches. Thanks for your attention.